Hey all, welcome back to Fire and Water Cooking. I'm Darren, of course, and today we're going to do burnt ends, but we're going to do two kinds. We're going to do pork belly burnt ends and chuck roast burnt ends, and we're going to taste them, see what the difference is. If they're both good, just going to do them both at the same time. Try them out. I'll be right back, guys.
Smoking, grilling, getting hot and hotter, sous vide and chilling from fire and water.
All right, like I said, we're going to do two different kinds of burnt ends. We're going to do pork belly burnt ends and chuck roast burnt ends. Now, those aren't the original burnt ends, because original burnt ends come from the brisket point. When you're cooking a brisket in Kansas City is where they actually started, was just cutting off some of the fatty point section and cooking them a little longer into little cubes and giving them as like a little appetizers to people. But they've turned out over the years to people turning pretty much anything they want to into burnt ends. I've even seen hot dog burnt ends and all kinds of other stuff. So we're going to go ahead and do pork belly burnt ends, which I've done before. And we're going to do chuck roast burnt ends, which is going to be similar to what would come from a brisket. This chuck roast just happens to be pretty thick, so we're going to try to make the cubes, a little bit more in line when we cut them up. But I am going to cook it on my Kamado Joe Classic 3 today. We are going to use the slow roller to do it. We're not going to sous vide these at all. We're just going to smoke them. Probably at a little bit higher temperature than the 225, probably go 250 to 270 in that range, just so we can get these things cooked down, tenderized, and rendered. We're going to cook them initially for a good long time, then we're going to go ahead, then we'll put some sauce on them and finish them up. So it's going to be a process. It's going to take pretty much all day to do. So let me get started. We're going to take these out of the packs and get them seasoned up. But first I got to get my Kamado Joe 3 going, so that the fire is ready to go when we want to put these on. So I'll be right back. All right, guys, starting with a full basket of lump charcoal here. We're going to use the slow roller. That's actually going to concentrate the smoke on the meat. Going to use the grill gun here to get the charcoal going. Just going to put it right there in the middle. It takes less than a minute to get that going really good. Put the pecan all the way around it. We're going to let it sit till we're ready. All right, guys, so we're going to get these all cut up now. And I am going to cut them up before I put them on, and I'm going to put them on this rack here. And then we're just going to stick that rack right on the Kamado Joe Classic 3. But when I cut these into chunks, the pork belly we're going to season with my black garlic and honey barbecue that I'm still working on. It's not ready for sale yet, guys. Getting ready to produce this. It's got a little bit more of the traditional barbecue in it, but smoked salt, smoked paprika, black garlic, of course, some honey and sugar. For the chuck roast burnt ends, we're going to use my favorite combination of seasonings for beef, which is the black garlic and coffee seasoning and the all-purpose black garlic. We're going to do that. We're going to cut them up, do them one piece of meat at a time, put them in this bowl, season them up, shake the cubes in there, and then put them on this rack. One on each side here. So let's go ahead and get these cut up. I'm going to start with the pork belly first. So this pork belly came from Costco. There's no skin on it. This is just the fat layer. This is the other side. I'm not going to trim this at all because we're going to want that fat to kind of render all the way down. If you look, yeah, it is bacon, guys, if you look at that. So we're going to cut this in about, a little over a 1 inch, maybe 1 1/4, 1.5 inches for each one, because they are going to render down pretty good. There is a lot of fat in this one. We're going to do the same with the beef, but since this is thicker, we might do these a little bit more closer to 1 inch each, and they're not going to render as much as the pork belly because there's less fat in that than there is the pork belly, of course. So let's get these cut up just like that, guys. Then we're going to take and cube it, try to make it, probably get 3 out of each of these strips. Just going to show you. Yeah, that's going to work out just about right. And like I said, this is going to render pretty good. Since we're going to do the pork belly first, I'll just go ahead and toss the cubes into the bowl. Alright guys, I'll be back when we're done cutting up the pork belly and we start working on the chuck roast. Alright guys, once they're all cut up, we're just going to go ahead and put our seasoning in there. Just make sure you get enough in there to coat them all the way. Shake it up pretty good, and once you get them on the rack, if you need to put any more on, you can. But once you get them all, just put them in the rack. They don't need to be spaced very far apart because they're going to render down and make room. We're going to do the same thing with the chuck roast. I'm going to cut it just a little bit smaller because these are thick and they're not going to render as much as the pork belly. But once I get them in the bowl, like I said, we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to use the all-purpose black garlic and the black garlic and coffee, about equal amounts of each, and just toss them in the bowl until everything is covered nice. Put them on the rack, and then they'll be ready for the smoker. Alright guys, so that's what they look like on the rack before going into the smoker. So I think my smoker's right up to about 250. I closed the vents down to try to keep it that way. The smoke is looking pretty good. We're going to go ahead and stick these on. I'll meet you over at the smoker. Alright guys, so like I said, we're right at 250. I cut the vents down just a little bit. I may have to adjust them back a little bit to get it just over that 250 mark. So, but I'm going to go ahead and put these on. I got the slow roller in. And like I said, what's going to happen with the slow roller is that smoke's going to come up and just kind of roll here and then go back out. So this rack I'm going to put right here in the middle so we can get that smoke effect really good, and that should be good enough to cook them down. I'll probably check on these every hour and a half or so. If I need to, I might go ahead and spritz some water on there so we can get some more smoke to them. But we're going to close this up. I'm going to take the vent up just a little bit, a little notch here, just to get it back up to temp a little bit. But as you can tell, that smoke, it's pretty clean smoke rolling right now. It's not very dirty. So everything's going the way it should with the Kamado Joe Classic 3. All right, guys, I'll be back in about, like I said, hour and a half, 2 hours, see how these are doing. Hey guys, it's been maybe just a little over an hour, and I just wanted to show you, we're sitting just over 250, so probably right around 265 or so in the on the dome thermometer here. Just want to show you just how they're coming along. Look at that, they're starting to render pretty good, getting some pretty good smoke to them. So I can hear it sizzling. I don't know if you can hear that or not, but they're looking pretty good. Of course, this is the pork, that's the beef back there. Doing pretty good so far. So I'll check them again in another hour or so, just to see how they're doing. Hopefully they continue to render down. All right, guys, about 3.5 hours in, this is what they're looking like. Pretty soon we'll be able to take them off and put them in the pans and have them render some. All right, guys, I got the chuck roast ones off. They look a little dark because that seasoning is really dark, but they are nice and moist and juicy. We're going to put maybe about 1/4 cup or 1/2 cup of my black stallion sauce in here. Probably a little bit more than 1/4 cup. Probably about a little more than 1/3 of a bottle. And I'm just going to toss them in it just like I did with the seasoning. Get them all sauced up. Yeah, that's plenty of sauce in there. Then we're just going to put them in these pans, guys. It's getting a little windy out here, so hopefully it doesn't blow these pans all over the place. And then we're going to put them back in just for another hour or so they can tenderize a little more. Render some more of that fat. Get that sauce all nice and incorporated in there. I suggest using a bigger pan than this, but this is all I really have, and I don't want to put any other of my regular pans in there right now. But 2 of these little ones will work just fine. Like I said, all we're doing now is getting them a little bit more tenderized. Put some of that sauce on top. Let that sauce incorporate some into the meat. Glaze them up a little bit. And we'll let them be in there for like about an hour, and then take that foil off and let them finish up, glaze a little more. All right, get my foil out here. Just wrap it up. So it can cook in there, finish rendering that fat and tenderizing that meat. All right, guys, time to do the pork. You're going to do the same thing. We're going to take them and put them in that bowl, dump a bunch of sauce in there, get them all nice and well coated. And we're going to put them in those pans, dump any of the extra sauce from the bowl in. If you need to add any more sauce, you can just put a little bit more on top. And we're going to go ahead and cover them up with foil and stick them back on the smoker. All right, guys, so they've been on there about 2 hours. And I think, yeah, those feel pretty tender. Whoop. I can tell just by pushing on the tops, they're pretty tender. So I'm gonna go ahead and get my pot holders and take these out, and we'll give them a try. I'm gonna let them sit for a couple minutes because I don't wanna burn my mouth. But let's get these out of the pans and on a plate, and we'll give them a taste test. I'll be back. Well, all right, guys, here they are. My blueberry, triple B, blueberry, balsamic, black garlic. And these are burnt ends. Don't they look like burnt ends? They look pretty burnt to me. This is the beef chuck roast with the black stallion sauce on them. But dude, they look black because of the black garlic, of course. And the sauce is pretty dark as well. But these are, they may be burnt, but they're very tender. I'll just go ahead and grab the beef one here. Just show you, it's just falling apart here. Been about 6.5 to 7 hours, guys. See, it's falling apart. I can't even get it. There you go. It's a chuck roast, burnt end, with my horseradish. Yeah, very good. Pretty much just shreds, falls apart. Tangy horseradish. Good stuff, guys. But like I said, that's the one thing you'll know they're burnt ends, because that black garlic and all the other dark seasonings and sauce here make sure they look burnt. Just take the pork belly. Come on, stay on there. Woo! You guys need to try the blueberry and black garlic and balsamic, because this is awesome on these pork belly burnt ends. Sweet, you got the tang, you got that little bit of a kick, umami from the black garlic. Very good. Wow. Check them out, guys. Burnt ends, pork belly and chuck roast burnt ends. Switch it up, do a couple different sauces, a couple different seasonings. You can find these right below, or you can find them on Amazon.com, Walmart.com, my Etsy store, Fire and Water Cooking, and even my Shopify store. But thanks for watching. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram. Make sure you check out Fire and Water Travel, where we actually combine the travel and food together. So check out fireandwatertravel.com as well. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.